Welcome to the debut episode of A Strange New Pod. We are so happy to be here. We will go through introductions in just a second, but first, we have to give a very big thank you to Sam Dillard and Samo Studios for our awesome intro, and you'll hear later our outro music, and of course to the late, great Alexander Courage, the composer behind the original Star Trek theme. It gave me goosebumps as we were getting in, guys. Let's go around in a circle and introduce yourselves. I'm Julian Brown. I am the host of Everything is Permitted, and we'll just go in a circle.
Which circle? Your circle is different than ours.
I know, every circle is different. Erik, you're below me, so why don't you go ahead and we'll go clockwise.
Yeah, why not? I'm Erik. I'm the co-creator of, the creator of Geeks with Kids. We're a podcast based out of Ontario, Canada, and our members are all over the place. So, yeah.
I guess I'll go next then. I'm Brittany from Everything is Permitted podcast. So we're doing this conjoined thing together, and I'm super excited. We're based out of Levittown, PA, and I just do freelance translation work and trying to be a voiceover artist.
Ooh. Boom.
Boom.
Hey guys, I'm Hawk, based out of Ontario in Canada. I'm a contributor to Geeks with Kids, and very happy to be on the very first episode of A Strange Podcast.
Yeah. I'm super excited for this. I said to myself that if they were gonna, pull the trigger on the Pike series and go to warp with it, I got to a pun before Brittany did.
Oh, dang.
That I was gonna do a podcast, and Erik liked the idea too, and here we are. We're gonna go around and talk about our various levels of Trek knowledge and where we are with that. But before we do that, I warned you guys. Erik went to change his hat. I'm gonna call him out because he was wearing a Star Wars hat.
I don't know what you're talking about.
He doesn't know what we're talking about. But I warned the folks here that I was going to be throwing them for a loop. I had a strange craving today as I was setting up my new smart home, talking about technology and Star Trek. I was craving cheesesteaks, and I got a cheesesteak. And I was wondering, as I was eating said cheesesteak, what, favorite food and favorite restaurant, if you were living in the Star Trek timeline, would you really hope, stuck around all the way to, the 23rd century with the United Federation of Planets, and it was still, that historical location? Brittany's smiling like hell, so I'm gonna go to Brittany first.
No, I was just thinking,
Yes.
At first I thought you were going to be like, what can you have in the replicator? But,
No one wants a replicated cheesesteak.
Dude, I don't know.
This is hard.
Yeah, give me a minute.
I know. The loop has been thrown.
Does it have to be, a restaurant, or can it just be a meal in general?
I mean, I was gonna go, if you have, your favorite spot that you had a favorite thing at, that you would hope would still be there. I know. I'll go first because I threw you guys for the loop.
Yeah.
So, and I'll give you a second. So, I would really hope that Jim's Cheesesteaks on South Street would still be in Philadelphia when we were there, because there is nothing better than going to South Street and getting a couple of drinks and getting a cheesesteak from there. And I feel like it's historic enough, I don't know, Cisco's Creole restaurant, it would, I don't know, it would still be there.
I don't know if there's a place that I would want to go to, but there is a brand of ice cream that's localized in Canada called Corsa Dairy, and it's super creamy and super rich. I'm lactose intolerant, but I will still eat this ice cream any chance I get. It's just wonderful. It's so creamy. It's nothing like it.
I'm gonna pick a place I really like, but it's not in this country. So when I used to live in France, when I was studying abroad, there was this place called Dolly's. It was this restaurant. It was weird. It was they tried to be American themed, but it was mostly British themed. They didn't really know what they were going for. But just a bunch of us international people, we would just hang out there sometimes, and it was just great. I love the atmosphere. It was this weird little quirky joint with different things around that would be American license plates and stuff, and then you would have weird British scone corner. I don't know. It was just a cute little place to go.
Well, that's
I just hope that
perfect because United Federation of Planets headquarters is in Paris. So there you go.
Well, there you go. That was nowhere near Paris, but
well, still.
Isn't it in San Francisco?
Well, Starfleet headquarters is in San
Starfleet,
Francisco.
yeah.
Federation Office of the President is in Paris.
That's
I'm dropping the knowledge.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
glad
That's
one
like
of us
the
is.
same as like why UN languages are like French and the Olympics are in French.
Yeah.
They're just like, that's a peaceful language, right? I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, Hawk, you've had the most time to think.
Yeah, and I was thinking about one thing, but to be honest, I haven't had it in years, and I don't even know if the place is even still open. But in Easterbrooks, Chili Dog, it's this little
Cute.
place. It was just I think it was just outside or in of Hamilton, and that I just remember they had the most fantastic chili dogs. And like
I
I
love
said, I
chili
don't even know.
dogs.
I don't even know if they're still around right now. But if there was one, it would be that one.
You know, I'm gonna change mine. Because I love Nando's chicken. I don't know if
Oh,
you guys have it in the
Nando's.
States.
Oh.
I
Okay, you
love
do. Good.
Nando's.
So Nando's every day. I know as a Canadian, I'm supposed to like Swiss Chalet better, but Nando's.
I'm just proud neither of you said like Tim Hortons.
Oh,
I
Tim
love me
Hortons is
some
the worst.
Timbits.
That's what you go to Tim Hortons for is Timbits.
Nothing.
Yeah.
You go there when you can't go
No.
to a Starbucks or somewhere better.
Oh,
Good old Timmy Ho.
I don't know if chains would still exist when, like, you know, there wasn't like a need for money or anything in the Federation. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm wrong, but I would love some Nando's chicken.
What about Space Taco Bell?
There you go.
Maybe in like the far-flung future, you need a cheesy gordita crunch.
in the movie Demolition Man, Taco Bell won the franchise war. So
It's true.
See?
who knows?
They still might. The U.S. is on lockdown, and Taco Bell's killing it.
They are.
Yeah.
You try to go there at 6 p.m. right now and see you later. See you like next year. Let's go around and talk about where we are on like the Star Trek knowledge platform. Brittany, I'll go with you this time and go down to Hawk and then Erik.
I consider myself a casual fan of Star Trek. I love it. I don't know everything about it because I haven't seen every episode of every show. I really love Deep Space Nine. I've seen a lot of Next Gen. Right now I'm catching up on Discovery, and I've seen all of Picard that just happened. I feel like I'm missing one. I've seen some
Voyager.
episodes from the original series. I don't think I've seen any of Voyager, actually.
You're probably with a lot of Star Trek fans there. Some people just like swear off Voyager, which I don't agree with, but
I didn't try to avoid it. It just never graced my screen at the time. I don't know. It was always Deep Space Nine, like reruns on TV and stuff. So
nice.
probably
Hawk,
just
how about you?
aging myself, though.
Me specifically, my biggest knowledge of the Star Trek universe comes from Next Generation. I was one of those teenagers who was in on Friday night every week watching the new episodes. So,
I love it.
but yeah, very casual into Deep Space Nine. I kind of hung in there for a few seasons, especially after Worf showed up. Not so much for Voyager, although looking back, there were quite a few good episodes in that. And, you know, I love the whole storyline of 7 of 9.
Yeah.
I'm all caught up on Discovery and Picard. Erik and I did a podcast during its broadcast. So that's where I'm at.
I just, before we go, I want to give a quick shout out because you mentioned 7 of 9 and loving her story arc. Give a shout out to our friends over at the Star Trek Discovery Pod who have been doing an awesome patron special, like exclusive series, like the best of 7 of 9. I highly suggest you check it out. It's really good. They're a great podcast. So
They're awesome.
They're amazing.
all right, Erik.
Me. I was gonna say I'm not that hardcore into Star Trek, but apparently I'm more hardcore than the last two. I love watching Star Trek. I've watched it since I was a little kid. I used to watch it with my dad. Like I remember the premiere of TNG's. Like it was a distinct memory in my mind. But I've watched pretty much every series, so I guess that's something. But I'm not one of those people that like deep dive into the lore. So I know a lot about Star Trek, but not hardcore. That being said,
He
I'm
said
sending
my
you guys
favorite word.
deep dive or lore?
No lore.
I'm sending you guys a picture of me from 1996.
Oh, here
Oh
it
my
is.
god.
As a
Oh,
really
okay.
angsty teenager at the Star Trek exhibit in Toronto at the
Oh my God.
and like it looks like I'm not having fun there, but I definitely had a blast.
Oh,
And
look
it was
at
one of those
that
things.
shirt.
Please,
Your
hurry
shirt
up,
is way
man.
too long for you.
It was 96. That is the
that
proper
was the
length
style.
for
I-
a shirt at that time.
Oh, that's going on the
What?
Facebook page later.
Come on.
Oh yeah, I'm fine with that. Maybe we should cut out my sister, but or blur
Yeah.
her out.
We'll just have you flanked by Riker and Soren there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
that
such. I remember seeing it in I think the newspaper.
I
and
just
begging
pulled
my
it up
parents.
finally. That's incredible.
I'm telling my parents to be like, we have to go to Toronto so I can see this. But yeah, I guess I'm not a hardcore fan, but I'm a little bit more hardcore than most.
My
I love
computer is having such a hard time opening up this 35 kilobit.
Yeah, I had to save mine to my desktop, then pull it up. So I'm like tapping at my computer.
It's better if you save it on your desktop, I think.
You
Oh,
know,
I'm gonna make it my desktop background.
that might be a little too pixelated. I don't know. That is just
I have to scan
That'll
it.
make it that much better.
Oh,
Well, I could just put it in the ratio of the original TV screen
There you go.
when it came out.
And then there's me, who has 2 different copies of the Star Trek Encyclopedia on my bookshelf. I had my dad tape me the Voyager finale when I was at boarding school. I've seen every single episode of every single series except for Enterprise because
I like
There's
Enterprise.
Yeah. Terrible ending.
Terrible ending. Great, more or less great series.
if we ever break
Season
into
3.
the theme song on this podcast, it'll hopefully be the one and only time because I
We're
don't
not-
have faith of the heart.
We're not playing Destiny right now. I
Oh,
can't-
no, we're
I
not.
can't say
Don't you
something.
dare, Eric.
I love Star Trek. I'm excited doing this pod. I also am a huge fan of Discovery, and I'm a huge fan. I have to point this out real quick. Anson Mount is my spirit animal, and I'd probably go gay for Anson Mount. I'm just putting that out there right now. His beard right now and everything, like
The quarantine beard got you?
quarantine
Yeah.
beard got me. He's a sexy man.
I haven't seen
So
the quarantine beard.
I'm so excited for Captain Pike and Spock and number 1 with Rebecca Romaine. It's just so excited for the show. I'm excited we're doing this podcast. And then let's get into it. We're going to talk a few things on our future episode here. And before we get right to it, I do want to say for now, we're going to be doing monthly episodes because there's not a lot of news right now. Once the show begins, we'll be going weekly. Having said that, we have a lot planned for those few months. If any news of the series or a trailer hits, we'll be sure to do breakdowns and have an episode in between the ones we already have planned. And then Geeks with Kids does a really cool thing. They have rotating hosts. So I won't be hosting every week. We're going to kind of go in a circle and have everyone host in rotation. It's going to be a blast. So
Good luck with my week. It's gonna be like nothing, just like layers of puns,
it's
like
only
trench
good-
warfare.
yeah. It's only going to be a pun show. Let's get into it. We're going to first talk about when Strange New Worlds is going to take place. We know that Captain James C. Kirk takes command of the U.S.S. Enterprise in 2265. And by the end of Discovery Season 2, now I'm sorry, Brittany, I know you haven't seen Season 2 yet. That obviously the Enterprise survives because, Kirk has to take command at some point.
Yeah, I kind of know what happens.
Yeah.
I just haven't seen it yet.
At the end of Season 2 of Discovery, it's 2258, which means there's about seven more years or so of Pike in command of the Enterprise. So the question is, are we going to see it after Season 2 of Discovery, or are we going to go back in time before The Cage and kind of their early missions? What do you guys think?
It's weird because The Cage happens in 2254, right? So there's a lot that happens that we haven't seen, but I don't see them going backwards in time after what happened in Discovery. I feel like they have, because of what happened in that season, they have to move forward, at least for all the fans. And I can't see anything but backlash if people are like, yeah, let's go back to when they first started.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to run parallel to Discovery and maybe reference things that are currently happening and whatever happens in Discovery from here on out, but like be its own thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But definitely parallel time. I'm hoping I don't know how many seasons it'll be, but maybe if it's like even one season equals 1 year.
Right.
Get like a 5-season show-ish to fill in that gap. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. I don't know.
There's that whole traditional Star Trek 7-season thing. So if they start right after Discovery
Exactly.
Season 2, they'll just have the full run up until Pike does his whole beeping thing.
Now,
Beep, beep,
then
bop
it'll
thing.
all be
Yeah.
connected.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we don't really know what timeline this is in, right? They haven't really said if this is the prime timeline.
No,
or-
I think they have said that
Is
this
this a
is
new one?
this is the prime timeline. This isn't
Is
the
it?
Kelvin timeline. This is the real timeline that we all know and love, where Captain Picard will eventually take command of the Enterprise D. Blah blah blah.
Mhm.
Not the Romulans coming through time and screwing everything
Not
up.
Eric Bana doing what Eric
Not
Bana
Eric
did best.
Bana. Not Chris Pine. Not Zachary Quino.
Yeah.
So we'll see Pike in his prime and not Chris Pine in his prime.
Mhm.
Oh boy.
And here's the first one.
Get off my bridge.
Amazing.
It's well earned.
Hawk, did you have anything, or did I miss that?
I was just kind of waiting my turn. This was definitely going to take place after the events of season 2 of Discovery, and that and rightfully so in that, because there's this enormous opportunity that they get to explore now, and that when we were originally introduced to Jonathan Pike and that in the original series, and that we got one adventure, and then his ending.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
So it's warp speed, explore all their missions together in that, because I assume that they had quite a few years together in that before Kirk took over.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting when you're looking at the timeline. If you go to like Memory Alpha, which is the giant Wikipedia of everything Star Trek, Pike was in command of the Enterprise for a really long time.
Mhm.
Yeah, he was like really highly decorated.
And they even reference in what is already established in the Prime timeline that Robert April was the original captain. I think he had the Enterprise for like 2 years, like as for a shakedown cruise, and then went to Pike. I'm with Hawk, with all you guys. I think we're all agreed. I think that they would not go back, and do his first, few years as captain. One of the reasons Discovery got so much backlash at the beginning was like, but this technology shouldn't exist. This is an issue. Like, how are you going to retcon this? And fans, especially Star Trek fans, not to call them out because even I get a little touchy about canon sometimes. They want canon to be preserved as much as possible. Having said that, there's no way you're not going to have things look updated. It's 2020. They did a great job with the redesign of the Enterprise, with the uniforms. I'm excited. I think, Erik, you hit it on the head too. 7 years, 7 seasons seems to be the normal Trek, time period, except for Enterprise. I'm just going to keep calling it out the entire show.
Yikes.
So yeah, I think 2258 and on, is probably where we're going to go, and that's going to take us into who we're going to see, I think, on the Enterprise. And we've already met Captain Pike, we've already met Spock, we've already met Number One, we met some of Pike's crew briefly. But now we get to know Number One a lot better. She had some great scenes and a couple of good episodes in Discovery season 2. I think Rebecca Romaine was fantastic casting, because obviously she was played in the pilot by Majel Roddenberry, Gene's wife, who obviously was the computer voice for all of those years up until I think she was the computer voice briefly in the 2009 J.J. Abrams movie as well. So she just did it forever, which was awesome.
Nice.
The question is now, who else do we want to see? Obviously, we have to have his version of the Enterprise bridge crew fleshed out. There's a great shot at near the end of the finale of season 2 of Discovery, where they're kind of going like to each head, like a station head. So these might be the people that we're seeing, come 2021 on the show. Do we want to see more of them?
That would be amazing. Like, the only one we really saw in the original series was Dr. Philip Boyce, who
Yes.
was sort of Pike's confidant and apparently his bartender and best friend. But other than that, it's sort of a blank slate, right? We don't really have any info on his crew, so that'd be amazing to get these new diverse characters. All of Kirk's crew seems to have come after 2265 when he joins the Enterprise. So I'd be fine with them totally being new people and
Yeah.
someone we get to discover, or some people we get to discover.
Yeah, I'm a little more excited for new people to happen, like new characters we don't even know about, just to join in, because the best part of every Star Trek show is the crew.
Yeah.
And as much as you like when crews will cross over occasionally, or somebody comes on the show and you're like, oh my god, they're from Next Gen and this is Deep Space Nine, that's cool. But at the same time, you like the new life to every sort of ship and every show. So yeah, we could probably see some of the original crew depending on what they want to do towards the end of the series. But I would like and prefer much more if they just have their own and we just meet these new people completely.
Yeah.
Plus there's all those if we get old people from the old original crew, we're gonna be comparing them to those original actors, and they've been in those roles for such a long time. Even the 2009 versions, they've been in it for 6 years, At
No,
the
almost 10.
or at least for when the last movie happened.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm
with Erik on this one. I want the only one I really want to see is like probably Boyce cast in that, veteran older actor in that. But other than that, it's an opportunity for a new crew, and I think that's probably the direction they'll go. They want some new blood, and they want some, anyways.
New crew, who dis?
Let's talk about Dr. Boyce real quick, because I've seen on Twitter at least that there's already some campaigns to have some people that are, I think, jockeying to be cast as him. Do you guys have anybody off the top of your head who you'd like to see play him? Because I think they have to introduce him, right?
Yeah, it'd have to be someone like a veteran actor. Like they always seem to have a veteran actor on a Star Trek show, like an older Shakespearean type person, and I feel like they need someone for that. I don't know who it would be at this moment because I haven't thought about it that hard.
I'm gonna throw it out there. Just because of the look from the original series and that pilot to now, Michael Caine, maybe.
I think it's
he's way too big for that role.
Yeah.
I don't know if he would do it.
No, he probably wouldn't, but a man can dream.
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine. Never.
I'll throw out a name in that.
What are we for, Bruce? Sorry, I mean Pike.
Looking back on the actor who played the original Boyce, I don't know if he's still acting today, but I'd vote for Lance Henriksen.
Trying to picture him.
Really? For Boyce?
Let me see.
I don't know.
Compare the faces.
I guess I would go with Malcolm McDowell over Lance Henriksen.
Ooh, that would be some cross-trekking.
That'd be confusing.
So wait, we're down to 2 choices for Boyce? So it's Boyce, 2 men?
Oh, God.
Oh.
Shut up, Wesley.
I'm in my prime.
You know what? I could see Lance Henriksen. I mean, why not? Oh, yeah. Yeah. I could. Yeah, why not? Why not?
He's 80. Man.
I know. That's the only thing.
He's a little bit old for that role. Isn't he supposed to be like 50 or 60?
Yeah, but I mean, Dr. Pulaski was old when she took over for Beverly that one season. So
that's true.
No one.
I guess Malcolm McDowell's 76. That's not much younger.
Yeah, right.
Picard hated her so much. It was great.
There was a person that was on the Strange New Worlds subreddit. There's an article about who was it? Jeffrey Combs.
Oh, yes.
People want Jeffrey Combs to play because he's like a veteran Star Trek actor.
That's what I was seeing on Twitter as well, is that people want Jeffrey Combs because he's played almost every role imaginable, including Wayun on DS9, which I think is really what he's known for. Wayun, what a great character.
Mm-hmm.
It's too bad.
He looks like him. He looks just like him.
He does. Oh,
yeah. Have him without makeup for longer than an episode or 2. Yeah, that would be awesome.
It would be weird to see him though, right? Like out of makeup, because so many of his roles have been in makeup. Yeah, and I don't know. I'm just like I just think of him and I immediately go right to Wayun.
Isn't that like seeing Doug Jones without like a crazy outfit on?
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Seeing him without his makeup,
Jones,
you're like,
always, you're like, dude, you're the character. Don't be
I know your voice. Don't be the normal person. That's odd.
Don't be the normal
Pan's Labyrinth mode.
Yeah.
I always remember him from the Frighteners.
Oh, the Frighteners, yes.
Yes.
Wow, that's a throwback. Nice.
Yeah. Man, I feel like we need to make a poll of who would make a good Combs. Well,
let's do it. By the time this episode is up, then who will play Jeffrey Combs in his biography? In his biopic. No, let's do it. By the time this episode is up, we will have that poll on our Facebook and Twitter. Who do you want to see play Dr. Boyce? We'll have some options up there, and we'll let you add some options as well. And in a month, we'll read off some of the choices and talk about it a little bit more. So,
yeah,
awesome.
We can call it the comb over.
Shut up, Wesley.
Oh my God.
You need more pun buttons.
I do. Like, I'm already running out. I mean, I
try to be polite and like wait till you guys are done for me to say a pun, but sometimes it's just bottling up.
I have some of our EIP ones, but I don't want to waste them and then do our other. I don't know. There's too many. I'm gonna get a bunch. I'm gonna find some like some new Star Trek ones for her because we need them for sure.
I can't wait.
We already kind of talked.
Further.
No more
like
puns.
when he wants me to be done.
Oh man. We already kind of talked about, whether we want to see the Enterprise bridge crew, but I want to go into a little bit of depth about that. Erik, you kind of mentioned that you think that a lot of Kirk's crew came with him onto the Enterprise when he took command. I don't.
It's before or after, just before. Like Bones joined in 2266. Uhura joined in 2265. Chekhov in 2267, and Scotty in 2265. So pretty much the same time that he came.
So they did. Okay. Would there be anyone like other minor characters like that we might see maybe join the crew like as the show moves forward and closer to Kirk taking command?
I don't know. I would love to see them in their original posts because not all of them
yes
in Starfleet at that time. So seeing Bones on like doing medical stuff on a planet, or seeing Scotty on his original ships would be amazing, because it'd be a nice little hint at it without being too overtly fan servicey.
Yeah,
most of
I
us
would like that.
I can't even think of other crew members. I'd love to see like George Kirk is still active. I assume.
Right.
So seeing him somewhere in the world,
because he doesn't die like in the Kelvin timeline. He lives to see Kirk take command of the Enterprise. We know that much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he would be, because Kirk was really young when he captained the Enterprise, so he'd
30
still be,
something, I believe.
Yeah, he'd still probably be in active duty. I
Yeah,
assume. He's probably around the same age as Pike.
Yeah, so one thing that the JJ verse established is that and it's I don't think they have the same relationship at all in the Prime timeline, but like Pike really took Kirk under his wing. Having said that, we're not going to get that in this show, but I still wouldn't mind them casting a young Lieutenant Kirk and them crossing paths, because at some point they kind of have to, like, especially if Pike's going to give command of the ship to him, and I think even in this timeline he's still one of the youngest captains in Starfleet. Mm-hmm. So is that something you guys would want to see? I mean, I really want to see a young Kirk.
I think nearing the end of the run of this show, I think it would be cooler. If they do it too soon, it would sort of seem opportunistic. Yeah, there's the one.
Fan-servicey.
Fan-servicey. Let's go with that.
Yeah, heavy-handed.
Heavy-handed. I like the idea of maybe, because Pike gets promoted to fleet captain, so he'll eventually leave the Enterprise to do that, and or fleet commander. And
I think you got it. I think it was fleet captain.
Is it fleet captain?
I think you mean wing commander.
Where's the wing commander fund?
No, it's not on it's not on the Roadcaster anymore.
Oh, all right, we'll add that later. But
we held together. I love this baby.
I think it would be cool when he's getting closer to that end to see a younger Kirk, because there has to be some reason why Kirk becomes a captain, especially at that age, right? He has to be that shining star that people are like, ooh, there's something about him that makes we want him to become a captain.
Get off my bridge.
Oh, I snorted for that one. Oh, no.
Good.
You're welcome.
Good. She deserves it.
Everyone loves a good snort every once in a while.
But other than that, I think it'd be cool, I think, if Kirk did actually have his little crew running with him, like not a little crew, but like
his own gang.
He had like Bones with him or something like that.
I think having Bones would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think that would
I'm
be
just
neat.
picturing him on like a motorcycle going by, with like McCoy on the back, like let's ride.
Listening to Beastie Boys. Oh,
Flips off Spock as he tries.
That'd be also really interesting. Have
an interesting angle to explore for Kirk. Maybe he comes on the ship and he's just a brat, and
they sort of had that in 2009, right? They had that impetuousness, and him and Spock sort of were up at each other's arms. So that'd be cool to have a little bit of that go in this show.
Well, yeah, and then into darkness when he gets the Enterprise taken away from him. Obviously, that doesn't happen, in this timeline. But yeah, Kirk has a tendency to be a shit and doesn't, as we'd learned from the TV show and the movies, does not like to lose.
He's definitely a little shit.
Yeah, does not take it very well. I know we're supposed to be talking about because this is going to be a Captain Pike show. This is not going to be a Captain Kirk show. Erik, you made a good point talking about, there's got to be a reason why, Kirk eventually takes command of the Enterprise from Pike. I'm guessing a lot of that is, the ramifications of season 1 of Star Trek Discovery and the Klingon War and need for officers because a lot of people died during the war. And that's kind of what I want to talk about next before we kind of get into other things that we want and maybe don't want from the series. How much of Discovery, because they're not going to do too much about what happened in Discovery season 2, and I don't want to spoil anything because Brittany's not there yet. But
you're fine.
I think that they have to talk about the ramifications of the Klingon War, and especially the fact that Pike and the Enterprise sat out.
Mm-hmm. Did they sit out?
They did. They did.
I didn't see what. I remember they touched upon it in season 2, but I thought it was not a great explanation.
No,
Pike rolled up to the war and was like, "Psych."
Yeah.
We're nice and shiny. We don't want to touch this.
But this is a new ship. Don't scuff it.
Because
I think that was some of the reason.
I said I don't know a lot of the lore, but for some odd reason I recall them being part of the war effort. Were they not?
They were not. And Admiral Cornwall says it at some point, like, we left you behind for a very good reason, like you're the best of the best. And
I meant before Discovery. I feel like old lore had them there.
Oh, I don't know if they fought in the war in previous canon. It's not really talked about too much, as far as I know.
Oh,
well,
no,
I guess they really
the war.
I guess they really wanted to keep that whole pristine, like the future is very peaceful aspect of the original series.
Yeah.
So the more war aspects happen a little bit later.
No, I want to talk about, because a lot of people died. The Federation lost a lot of ships during the Klingon War. They were literally, I think, hours at the point in Star Trek Discovery season 1, hours away from losing the war. Obviously, I think we have to touch on that and see what the rebuilding efforts, like how Pike and the Enterprise are involved in that. Like, what is Starfleet after such a big war? You
have to assume that, like, the war effort in like World War I, World War II, like all of the young people would pick up arms, right? Because of something so devastating, especially that first battle. You see fleets just decimated. And you have to assume people like Chekhov that are super young, just enrolling into the academy just because of what has happened. They have to pick up the war effort.
Yeah.
Although I don't know how much they're gonna go into the war, because just the title Strange New Worlds, it harkens back to the Space the Final Frontier
5-year mission.
Right? And maybe the whole idea of the war, it's not really in the past, but it's sort of at a stalemate. But the idea of them pushing the science-minded future, and that they want people to discover more things, and that's where the lightheartedness that they talk about in the press release comes from, right? That because of all the darkness, there's all this light afterwards. So they're
Star Trek into lightness.
Yeah, exactly.
That's interesting, because that's probably one of the biggest criticisms of the new shows, and that is that they kind of make this concerted effort to take down the Federation in their storylines, exposing like corruption and like,
especially in Picard.
Yeah, more war.
Yeah, it's pretty dark.
Yeah, so that's and as you said, the Enterprise didn't participate because they were the best of the best, and it kind of goes hand in hand with them kind of wanting to probably get back to the more hopeful vision of Star Trek and Roddenberry's vision.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And obviously I know that season 3 of Discovery is gonna, even though I can't spoil anything, is gonna be about bringing back that flag of the Federation as well. But Pike is captain of the flagship. Exploration is Starfleet's mandate. And but yeah, I want Strange New Worlds. It's in the title. I want to see new planets. I want to see new aliens. I want to see some wacky shit like we saw in the original series. A planet just entirely run by the Italian mafia.
Set in Nazi times. Weird.
Yes, set in Nazi time.
Nothing but tribbles.
Yeah, nothing but tribbles. Like that Short Trek. That guy was an idiot. If you haven't watched that Short Trek yet, you need to. It's amazing. I might rewatch it after we're done recording this.
Yeah. I think the great thing about the Short Treks is that it gave us a little more insight into certain characters. Like there's that number 1 episode in the elevator with
so
Spock,
good.
and it was so good. And it reminded me of old Trek because you'd often have like a random character be the center of one episode. But I think this is why I liked Enterprise so much, is that there was an overarching story for the season and for the series as a whole, but it was still very episodic. Like they'd still have that random time travel episode or that random Italian mafia planet episode, and they weren't weighted down by that overarching story. And I think that's what we need to have in this new series.
Well, yeah, and Enterprise had Faith of the Heart.
I'm just picturing Godfather. Like,
have you seen this episode of the original series, Brittany?
No, but
the
it just
Mob
sounds
Planet?
amazing.
It's brilliant.
I just picture them arriving, and he's just like, "How could you do this to me on the day of my daughter's wedding?"
Sort of like that.
It is kind of like that. I'll have to drop off my Blu-rays to you.
Just huge gels, you know.
Yeah.
Oh man,
man.
you can't refuse.
Either way, I think this is we originally talked about getting to know the bridge crew. I can't wait to get more of Pike, Spock, and number 1, and all these other people that we saw briefly and maybe had a throwaway line during that final battle in at the end of season 2. I think it's going to be a blast. Let's get into things that we want and maybe some things that we don't want. But before we do that, we have a mailbag. So that means
hailing frequencies are open.
And
Brittany, that was cool.
Yeah.
I really like that.
So before we get into these, I do want to say every episode we do, we really, really want to try and have a mailbag. So please email us with any thoughts you have. They could be sound bites. They can be just, straight up emails. Anything you want. We want to hear from you. We want to be able to read your stuff on the pod when we record. You can email us at astrangenewpod@gmail.com. We're also on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. So find us everywhere. The hailing frequencies are indeed open. Brittany, why don't you read the first mailbag?
Should I read the name?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
He has the best name.
Our very first fan mail from someone with an amazing name, Star Trek While High. A lot of people
get high and watch Trek. Hell yeah.
A lot of people
sounds
do.
like university all over again.
Yeah.
Right? Half the people I know that watch Star Trek do so while high. That's fun. Stated, I'm so excited for this podcast.
Yay!
So are we, dude. So are we. Or dudette. Whatever. I call everybody dude. Can't wait to hear some early thoughts about the new show. I'm most excited to see Rebecca Romaine as number 1. She gave such a great performance on Discovery and Short Treks, and there have been so many Pike and Spock incarnations and stories, but this is a whole new character to learn about. Looking forward to the show. Best, Star Trek While High.
Yay! Thank you for sending that, and continue to get high and watch Star Trek. A lot
I
of the
give them a
episodes-
high 5.
Boom!
Wow.
I think
Or a high 1 for number 1.
It's a great comment. Like number 1, like Rebecca Romaine did such a good job. She wasn't even in Discovery season 2 that much.
No.
But every time she was there, she had such a good presence and such a good rapport with Pike. So seeing them play off each other, and that they have this chemistry that will get explored in this series. So it's interesting to see it. I love it. It's such a good character.
Yeah, and I think that they talked about it a little bit. I think there is a little bit of an attraction there from number 1. I don't know if she'll ever, they'll say anything, kind of like Picard and Beverly. They never really follow up on it, but we know it's there. So it'll be curious to see how they decide to go about that. Maybe that's the reason Pike leaves the Enterprise. They go and have some number 2, 3s, and 4s. So
we don't find out what happened to her after that first.
No,
episode,
she
right?
just straight up disappears.
Yeah.
You guys
Miguel
missed an
Roddenberry.
amazing pun opportunity.
What?
You could have said, let us discuss Rebecca Romaine. Romaine let us.
I'm
Terrible, I know.
I'm gonna cross franchise here because that was so bad.
Shame.
That's a franchise that maybe continues in Star Trek history. Maybe they still watch that disappointing finale.
I don't think anybody's putting that on their view screen.
Shit.
Just
Definitely
saying.
not.
No. Maybe at that point they fixed the 8th season.
Didn't Miguel Roddenberry play Christine Chapel in the original series?
I think so.
The Nurse Chapel?
Yeah.
Um,
But they
almost-
didn't say
Wait a
that
minute.
that was the same.
In the
character.
original series, yeah, she did play Nurse Chapel. In the pilot, I can't remember who
she played number one.
She
Yeah.
did play number one, right? Okay.
Yep, she did.
Okay.
Hawk, while you're there, do you want to read our second mailbag from Jack Sparrow Jive?
Sure. Jack Sparrow Jive on Reddit wrote, incredibly excited, loved Pike. Spock, number one on Discovery Season 2, loved the new Enterprise design and uniforms. Getting an entire show of that stuff seems incredible. It can't come soon enough for me.
Damn straight.
I
Yeah,
agree.
totally agree. And we have to give a very special shout out to Jack Sparrow Jive because he's been chatting with us on Reddit since we put our post up there asking for some mailbag and some feedback. He went into Star Trek Online, a game that I used to play religiously, and created for us our very own Constitution class starship, which is the class of the Enterprise, with the NCC registry being today's date, which is our first recording date. And it looks so freaking cool. And he
It
didn't
looks
have to
so
do
good.
that.
It was
No one
really
asked
awesome.
him
I
to.
know.
Like, dude, thank you. Live long and prosper. That's awesome.
Trek fans are the best.
They
Yeah.
really are.
Trek yourself before you wreck yourself.
What?
Now, one thing with that is I think I think the registry is great and the starship looks good. I think that he's onto something here, and I think that we need to have a starship that can be our starship. But I don't know if we can call it the U.S.S. Strange New Pod. I think we should do a contest to name this ship.
Name.
Interesting.
Name.
So we'll have two polls. One, who do you want to cast as the good doctor? And two, what do you want to name our ship? Let
Ooh.
us know. You already have
When
one
ship
ready,
hits
don't
the fan, no one will pick it.
No,
We'll think of something cool.
it should be like USS Trek puns or something. Trek puns.
USS Punder 1.
Punder.
I should-
Number pun. I don't know.
I should point out that classically, when people have been left to decide over the internet what to name a ship and that or anything, it usually comes back as Shippy McShipface.
you? Yeah, shipping
Yeah.
face.
I am fine with USS Shipping.
Yes.
Dude, let's get shit-faced and talk about Star Trek.
Amazing. Well, we got some feedback. We got some mailbag from people. Let's talk about some of our wants and don't wants. And Brittany, kind of as the person who hasn't quite gotten through Discovery yet, I want to start with you because you kind of have a fresh outlook on the whole thing. What are some things that you want and maybe don't want this series to do?
I have my lists. But first, I just want to mention that I think it's cool that the show is called Strange New Worlds because it was also the name of a collection of fan-written stories.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that.
Yeah. For Star Trek, yeah. It's named after a collection. So, fun fact, you know how I feel about fun facts. What I want, I don't know what sort of issues they're going to run into the show because I really want the episodic content where they're going on adventures, seeking out new life, new civilizations, new races and cultures.
Civilizations.
Yes, situations.
This planet.
There's always situations when they run
Captain the Lemons.
But if they do run into any issues or overlapping Star Trek things, I'm thinking it would be cool maybe for Section 31 to be a thing that they're at least aware of or something's going to go on with that.
Well, there is the Section 31 series in development still, so yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. That could be cool because it's not really a thing they've touched on too much. And then if they do, I don't really want them to run into war or any intense issues.
Yeah.
But I feel if they do, it'll be Klingons still because that's just where they're at timeline wise, especially with all the disco stuff. Yeah, I'm just excited for an optimistic and adventurous show, and I feel they should leave the heavier stuff to the two shows they have right now that are heavier.
Yeah.
Obviously, they have Discovery and Picard, opposite ends of the time spectrum, but they're handling the intense stuff. Let's do something fun. So as long as there's good character development and maybe they tie up some loose threads that sometimes pop up throughout Star Trek, as we know.
Yeah.
I just don't want them to retcon too much, even though
Right.
that always happens with Star Trek.
Yeah, that's fair.
So yeah, I'm ready for something lighthearted and just getting to see these characters more. I love Spock already. I love Pike already. Don't know much about number one, but I'm ready to.
Yeah. Hawk, down to you.
For me, I would agree. I want this to go episodic. I think we've had, at least 3 seasons now of writing from this new Star Trek, producers and that see these overarching storylines and that. Episodically, it tends to put them all on little fetch quests to get to the next part of the plot. So, if we can go back to just a new adventure every week and that with this crew, that would fulfill a lot of my hopes and dreams. One thing I don't want to see is probably an interaction with the Romulans, if this is the timeline, following the original timeline. That because I think, if I remember correctly, Kirk was the first one who made contact with them since the establishment.
Since the Romulan War. Yeah.
So those are my two expectations from the show.
Plus, they're doing Romulans in Picard right now, so I feel like it would be too much
overkill.
to do. Yeah, overkill.
Yeah.
Ironically.
Yeah.
Romulan overkill.
Yeah.
Eric.
What if that was a phaser setting?
Romulan
overkill. No, just like their weapons are wild. But
that makes me think of what's her name from Picard when she's killing all the XBs.
Pill?
No, not Alison Pill. What's his name's sister? The one who actually had was like a good.
The better villain.
The better villain. And she's like shooting all the XBs, and she's like, "Oh, I broke your gun."
Yeah, she's like the Azula of that story.
Yeah. Nerissa.
Nerissa.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was gonna say Nerisse now.
No, that's
She's
Kira.
in
My bad.
DS9. Which is
All right,
funny
Eric,
because that
sorry.
means like nose, and she's got that Bajoran nose thing.
True.
It's funny.
Yeah. For me, I want to see a more crew-based show. Like the Discovery and Picard have both been sort of about 2 or 3 people. And I know they talk about it being about Pike and Number One and Spock, but I want to know the whole crew. I think that was the good thing about Star Trek up until this most recent incarnation, is that we got to know each and every one of the sort of the main heads of the ship, and I loved it. Like I want my Geordi episode, right? I want to know about the engineer.
I want a holodeck
Leia
episode.
Brahms, where he's awkwardly interacting with a hologram.
Geordi was a creep.
Geordi was really a creep. Like, can we talk about Geordi real quick?
Geordi was my favorite.
I love Geordi too.
At least like Reg knew he had an issue with the holodeck. Like Geordi had women issues. Like, come on, man.
He did.
Don't
But there's he has a lot of issues just purely because of the visor, right? He had a lot of stuff.
Dude, the visor's sexy. What are you talking about?
Maybe not to them.
Not to them.
So a more ensemble crew. I would love to know about all of them. Like Brittany said, a more optimistic future. Like we have to have that.
I need that now in my life.
Please, God.
Exactly, especially this time of our lives, and in 2020, we need some happiness.
We need a future vision.
Yeah.
Screw 2020 vision. We're fucking
2020
done with
vision's bad. I also miss the science of Star Trek, right?
Yeah.
There was a lot of them with their science babble type talk, and I loved when they would go and discover new things and new worlds and new civilizations.
Oh, like strange new worlds.
Yeah.
Shameless plug.
You're welcome, CBS.
And honestly, the things I don't want to see, I don't really want to see Klingons anymore.
Oh, I so agree with you.
Let Klingons be bygones.
Yeah, exactly. And if we do see Klingons, I want to see some of the old ridgeless ones, maybe mixed with the TNG version and the
with like the hair.
Yeah, with the
not these bald
eyebrows
superior ones.
Yeah,
with the extremely
they're like we shaved for war
makeup they had in the 60s.
Yeah, like
I think the name of that makeup they used on the Klingons was like Mexican number 5. I'm not even kidding. It was incredibly racist.
Maybe they need a new cover.
Yeah.
It was basically the same stuff Charlton Heston used when he did Touch of Evil.
Ooh,
oh my God.
They're
just going to use Klingon rap from now on.
Yeah.
Just like Saran wrap.
Erik, I actually I disagree with you. One of my favorite things about Discovery is Mary Chieftain and Laurel. And I need to see more of her. She's amazing. Wait till season 2. She's just a boss, and she's a great actress. She goes on to bigger and better things, which I'm not going to spoil here, but because of that, like I feel like we can't not have her in the series somehow. There's a huge opportunity. Having said that, I don't need Klingons like every other episode,
Yeah.
like do an arc maybe every other season. TNG overkilled the Klingons. DS9 did fun things with the Klingons, and I don't think it was overkill. And then Voyager had that like one Klingon episode near the end of the series when the Klingons were like waking up from hibernation. They're like, the war's still on. We have to kill the Federation.
And you were like, who are you?
Yeah.
Left on red.
Like, I wouldn't mind some Klingons, but I want to see like Andorians and other species.
Yes. No, I agree. The biggest thing I want is what you said. Like, I want to get to know the bridge crew. Some of my favorite characters on Discovery are people that we still don't really know that well yet. Like, I want to know more about Lieutenant Detmer in season 3 and why, what her little implant does after she got blown up in the first episode of Discovery. Like, I want to get to know her. I want to get to know I just want to get to know everyone. And I'm hoping that this will be that show. Bad guys, yeah, keep it light with the Klingons, but let's still see them. I think we need a new bad guy, right? Like, there's got to be some new bad guy, or they go to a planet and they screw up with first contact, and I'm not saying they start a war, but they start a confrontation. Like, there's such an opportunity over these however many years that Pike is captain of the Enterprise to explore those strange new worlds.
There's always a bigger fish.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'll put the other hat on.
Yeah, right. And the Star Wars hat comes back on.
What I don't want, and I think someone from a magazine said it very well, the show, I'm going to say it again. You can do a shot for every time I say it in this episode. The name of the show is Strange New Worlds. We don't need a war. We don't need the Enterprise saving the galaxy. The Enterprise is going to save the galaxy like in the next like 40, 50 years ahead of this show. It's good. We don't need that. Someone on Reddit, we did have one more comment on our Facebook page, actually. Someone mentioned seeing the Doomsday Machine from the original series. I think that could be cool as a throwback. Yeah. So just don't.
There'd be a lot of like cool things like hints of machinery and stuff like that are being made that will show up in later, like in the original series. That would be neat.
Yeah.
Like, again, not heavy-handed, but seeing hints of it. Like, we don't need to know that the Death Star is being made right now. but it would be cool to see like little things. Again, and also film it in Toronto like all the other stuff.
Yeah, baby.
Toronto, we need more Canadian actors on there.
Sounds good to me.
Like
all the best sci-fi
Detmer's
is
Canadian.
filmed in Canada.
Yeah, it's true.
Every time I watch sci-fi, like in the background, I'm like, that's Toronto. That's here. Like,
hey, look, there's Vancouver again. That looks like the same woods from another place.
Vancouver every single episode.
Yep. I'm like, is it CW or sci-fi? It's in Vancouver. It's in Toronto. Let's be honest.
Or Toronto, yeah.
Oh,
I'm like,
man.
I've been on that street. Even Orphan Black was the same thing. I was just like, oh, that building.
But Orphan Black was supposed to be set in Toronto, was it?
It was. It was supposed to be
part of it.
Yeah.
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 But it's just cool.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, I think that we could go on and on things that we want to see, things that we maybe don't want them to touch on. We will explore that in future episodes. Is there anything else anybody wants to say before we wrap up tonight?
I'm really looking forward to it. I'm interested in how they're going to score, like the music.
Yes.
Wise. Like if they're going to go more traditional, like Alexander Courage type music, or they're going to try and do a little like a mix of the modern, sort of like our theme song. It would be cool, like to have the mix. I know for Discovery, they tried to capture that old essence without totally stealing it, but I hope it's something close to that.
I have a strong feeling every time they've done the Enterprise and at the end of season 1 when it shows up, like they do Alexander Courage's theme for the entire end credits. I think Strange New Worlds is going to open every episode with Alexander Courage's theme. I can't see it not.
Like even like the 2009 version, the Michael Giacchino,
which is so good.
Score is so good, and without it making it totally like Alexander Courage, but still having the essence of it. Like there's that motif there ever so often, but making it his own thing. Actually, I really like that score a lot.
Yeah.
It is.
I was going to say, he's really good.
He's
even
one of my
did
favorite
the Fringe
composers now.
theme song.
Yep.
For Fringe. Yeah.
He's J.J. Abrams' go-to.
Exactly.
Or the Lost theme song, even if it's just
Yeah.
it's still so good.
You're like, oh man, I'll pay him $1,000 right now.
Exactly.
For me, I was going to add, I need to see at least one episode this season where they encounter some sort of omniscient being, like a Trelane or a Q, because it seems like Next Generation they always had like at least one episode a season in that where they encountered something that was totally beyond the scope of what they understood as a life form. Yeah. So
what does God need with a starship?
Oh my God, no.
No, please, God, no.
Maybe instead of Q, it's just like Z.
Could be.
Just another member of the alphabet.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We'll see.
The return
love
of the
Q.
Q continuum. That's what I want.
Yep.
Yes, that
Wasn't
would
Q?
be-
Wasn't the
Nothing but
first
Q.
time they showed up in TNG?
the
Like,
encounter at Farpoint was Q.
Yeah.
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 Because I don't know if I want to see him.
We'll
I
see.
do want to
Well,
see a mirror. I want to see a mirror episode, but not like right away. Mirror universe.
Like
well,
mirror Q,
again, it's
just
gonna.
backwards Q.
That's something that they could touch on because what happens in the aftermath of what happened in Discovery season 1 in the mirror universe as well. So absolutely touch on that.
True.
Yeah.
Was Lorca? Oh, spoilers, I guess. Was Lorca
knows.
the
Brittany
only
knows.
You're good.
Well, he was the only one that really, him and that other person that for people who haven't seen Discovery.
I think
They're the
we're
only
allowed
two
to
that
talk
crossed
about
over, right?
Yeah, I think
Yes.
so. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll
It
see.
would be cool if more came over, just not like a lot of them.
Yeah.
That'd be neat. Or
Yeah.
maybe a lot of them are on a planet and they discover them.
Yeah.
There's a mirror planet.
A mirror planet. Everyone has mustaches.
Yep. So
Twirly
you know they're
mustaches.
evil.
Goatees.
Well, that's it. That was so much fun, guys. I can't wait for the show to come out. I can't wait for us to keep talking about it. That's going to do it for this month, unless magically they drop a trailer, which they won't because we're still in lockdown, baby. We're still at red
Lockdown
alert.
trailer. Let's go.
Lockdown trailer.
Never
let's go.
know.
You
They
never
did a
know.
Zack Snyder Justice League trailer.
Good
and
point.
it was like
2 seconds.
nothing? Like 2 seconds, but everyone
Yeah.
got excited from it.
We'll see. If we get something before our next planned episode, we will absolutely record a show. But for now, we will be back next month. And for our next episode, we are going to be doing a deep dive into the original series pilot, The Cage, which was not picked up, which is obviously what was featured, where we got to introduce to Captain Pike. So we're going to talk about what did work with that pilot and what didn't work with that pilot. And we will see you in June. But for now, for Erik, for Hawk, for Brittany, I'm Julian. Live long and prosper.